This past weekend I took everything out of my NZXT Phantom 410 and moved it over into this NZXT Switch 810. This is the special edition matte black. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the build, and I'll start with the outside of the case and then we'll take a look inside. Start off on the top. Has this nice little vented lid. It's open right now. You can shut it, makes it run quieter. I leave it open because it's pretty quiet anyways. There are 3 140mm Cooler Master fans. They're pretty quiet. I have them at full blast right now, and you may be able to hear my air conditioner in the background, but I can't really hear the fans. I have a DVD-ROM. These are 2 NZXT Sentry mesh fan controllers. I have 10 fans inside this case, so I'm able to control all of them. The only ones I have turned down are my 2 120mm fans. Those are for my Corsair H100i. They get pretty loud when they're at full blast. That's the main reason I got these fan controllers. I put it all together and I only had one Sentry mesh, and I did not plug in my Corsair H100i fans into it, and it was really loud. They were plugged into the cases. Included 7 fan controller. That fan controller seems to run all the fans at full blast. So anyways, I ended up ordering a second NZXT Sentry mesh, and I plugged in my remaining fans into that. So right now the case is 7 fan controller. That comes with the case, does not have a single fan plugged into it. I will go ahead and crank up these two and you'll be able to hear. I assume you'll be able to hear that, but it gets pretty loud. Also on the front, as intake, I have these 2 Noctua 140mm ULN fans. ULN is an acronym for ultra low noise, and they are very quiet. Those are at full blast as well. Maybe you'll be able to hear them with the camera up close, but while I'm sitting here at my desk, I can't hear them. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's a built-in fan filter. See if I can get this back on. Another fan filter. There's another one just like this on the back for the power supply. I have my power supply pointing down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take off this and we'll look inside. Hold on just a second. Okay, so another upgrade when I moved everything over was this power supply. That is a EVGA Supernova 1500 watt power supply, and yes, that is quite a bit of overkill for what I have. The thing is, it was $100 off its normal price, so that, and there was a $20 mail-in rebate. So I went ahead and got it. I was going to upgrade the power supply to a 1200 watt power supply, Corsair, and the cost of this ended up being about the same as the Corsair 1200 watt power supply, so I figured what the heck. It came with these nice sleeved cables, as you can see. Get a close up of those. Yeah, I plan on adding a video card or two, maybe a couple years down the road, so I won't have to worry about a power supply at that time. I wanted to go ahead and add it now while I was putting everything into the new case and not have to take everything back apart, so that's why I did it. There's my Corsair H100i. This was the very first thing I installed into the case, the Corsair H100i. I took the screws that came with, take this back off, that came with the H100i, the short screws, and screwed the rad onto the case from above. And then I took the long screws that came with the H100i and drove them through the fan and into the rad, and that secured the H100i. I then put in these 3 fans. I just used the screws that came with the fans, the plastics, you know, the screws for screwing into plastic, and went through the bottom of the case and up into the fans. That was not very simple, especially for this one. There's a steel plate, you can't see it, but it's underneath my DVD drive. That is riveted into the case, so it can't really be removed. So I had to use an offset screwdriver in order to get this screw and this screw in. It was not very simple. Another issue with putting these 3 140mm fans, there are no cutouts to run the fan cables through if you're going to run 3 140mm fans up here. So what I ended up doing was I put in a rubber pad under this fan on this corner and on this corner. That gave it a little bit of gap between the fan and the case, and that enabled me to run the 3 fan cables between the fan and the case without them getting pinched. There they are right there. Well, let's see what else. I guess for those of you who haven't seen my videos before, as you can see I have 2 GTX 680. Those are the 4 GB editions. Underneath that Corsair H100i I have a 3770K. It is overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz. Down here I have, you can't see it, but there is a, what is it? A Crucial M4 256 gig hard drive. That's a solid state drive, and I have a Western Digital 1 terabyte, just a normal serial ATA hard drive. These fans inside that you see, the black ones with the blue LEDs, those are Antec fans, 140mm. And I think that's about it. Let's see. Here's my idle temps, in case you're wondering. It's kind of jumping around a little bit there. It usually stays around 25 to 26. My ambient temp is at 72 degrees. I wanted to let you hear the case with the air conditioner not running. The vents on top are open. As you can hear, it's pretty quiet. I'll go ahead and crank up my fans on top. Gets a little bit louder. I'll crank up my Corsair H100i 120mm fans and it will get a lot louder. There you go. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that my fans for my Corsair H100i are running as exhaust fans. I did not want to run a positive airflow system where they would have been running as intake fans. I felt like that warm air off the rad going into my case would have increased my case's overall temp. Yes, my CPU temps would have been a little bit lower, but I don't care. I want my overall case to run cooler because of my graphics cards and the other components in there. I am in no way an expert in airflow systems, so I may be wrong. Let me know if I am. Thank you.